Fun fact, it's the first day of my vacation today from work, and I have a cold, and I'm going on a 5-hour road trip right after I film this, so that'll be fun. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Library Scented Life. So I feel like there are books that are booktube classics. So by that I mean everyone has read them, and I haven't read most of them. And I think part of the reason is because most of them are YA. But some of the YA books I do want to read, and I have been wanting to read for a long time. And some of them are middle grade, and some of them are adult. So I feel like I should have read a lot of these by now, and this video is to shame me into reading them. So the first thing that I haven't read that's really popular, don't hate me, it's the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. To a lot of people, this is their Harry Potter. This is a middle grade classic. So one of my best friends was obsessed with this book in middle school, and she's still obsessed with it to this day. And I don't think she knows that I've never read it. And if she did, she'd be very ashamed of me. The sad thing is, I know I would love these books. I love middle grade that have action and adventure and magical elements and follows a group of friends that you can fall in love with, and I know that this series has all of those things, so I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. So the next popular thing that I have not read is actually an entire author's collections, and that's Sarah J. Maas. Unlike the Percy Jackson series, I don't have much guilt in not reading Sarah J. Maas books because I don't feel like I would like them. Sarah J. Maas to me is classic, original YA, past the Twilight phase, but before the I'm not like other girls trope has diminished. So it's in that weird middle stage. Sarah J. Maas books are like the Throne of Glass series, Tower of Dawn, and the Court of Thorns and Roses, and the Court of... There's like 2 other ones that are courts and all that stuff. So the next popular book I have not read is another one I'm ashamed about. This is one of those books that every time I'm in a bookstore, I'll pick it up with the intention to buy it, and then I'll find something else and put it off again. The book I'm talking about is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I know that this book has important things to say and will be a very powerful read, and it's very emotionally resonant, so I know I would love this because YAs like that I love. Even though YA isn't my main genre, there are certain books that draw me in and I really want to read because I know that they'll have the things that I like about YA, and it might cut out the tropes that I don't love. So I'm so surprised I have not read this powerful book yet, and I'm really sad that I haven't read it yet because I would love to. The next popular thing that I have not read is the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. So I've watched all the movie adaptations of this book, but I've never actually read it. Most of the non-readers in my life have read it, and for some reason I just never hopped on the Hunger Games train. Watching the movies, I didn't love them, but I did like them. I'm not sure I actually want to read this series, and I don't know why. I'm just not drawn to it, but let me know if I'm wrong and I need to. The next book I'm going to talk about is actually by one of my favorite authors, and that is It by Stephen King. Stephen King is an amazing author. I've read a lot of his work, I own a lot of it, and I love most of it. That being said, I still have not read, I would argue, one of his most popular books, It. There are a couple of reasons I have not read this yet. One of them is because of the intimidating size, but I have loved really large Stephen King books in the past, so I know that if I read it, the writing would keep my interest. The second problem is anything in the anything in the thriller or horror genre that has to do with mirrors or showers, I can't read comfortably, if that makes sense. For example, if I watch a scary movie and someone looks in a mirror and someone appears behind them, but then they turn around and no one's there, I can't look in a mirror for the next 2 weeks because I think that's gonna happen to me. Every time I'm watching a movie and I see a shower scene or a mirror scene come up, I just don't look. I don't know why. So because of this, I know that It takes place in the sewers and the draining system. I have not seen the new version of It, but I saw the older movie, and I remember there's one part where he's in the drain of a shower, and I know that if I read that scene or any scene that has to do with a shower, I'm going to be terrified, and that's what's keeping me away. I feel like I'm still gonna read this book anyways and just scare myself. Maybe during the upcoming fall season I will finally pick it up and I'll let you know how it goes. The next popular thing I'm going to talk about is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. So I've actually never read anything by Cassandra Clare, kind of like Sarah J Maas. To me, they're in the same era and in the same style of YA that I don't particularly enjoy. So it's funny, I actually have a copy of this because back in high school one of my friends lent this book to my mom because she wanted to read it. And then after my mom read it, she accidentally spilled something on it. There's like a tiny stain, and she felt bad that she stained my friend's book, so she bought her a new copy. So then this is my mom's copy. And to be honest, I don't know how I ended up with it. I don't know why it's on my shelf and not at her house. But yeah, I do have a copy. And the truth is, I have tried to read this at least 3 times, and I've DNF'd it after the first or second chapter. The type of humor and the style of writing hasn't been able to pull me in. I feel like if I had read this book when it came out and when it was very popular, I might have actually enjoyed it, and I might have that nostalgic feeling towards it that made it feel like a better book than it is. So I'm a little sad that I didn't read it back then, but I feel like if I read it now, I don't think I would enjoy it. So I don't think I'm ever going to read this one. So the next popular book that I have not read is another series. It's The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I love big fantasies that take forever to get through. I love any kind of fantasy that involves adventure and action, and I think I would really like this. I know it's been around for a while, but surprisingly, I only recently heard about this series, and ever since I know I've wanted to read it, but I don't think I'm ready to get into a big chunky fantasy yet. So I feel like once winter rolls around, I'll be craving a big fantasy novel again. Maybe I'll get into it. So the next popular book I have not read is, surprise surprise, another series. I think I have a problem getting into series. I think I'm very picky about the series I read because I want to know what happens next, so I feel like I need to read the whole series, and even if I don't enjoy it, I don't know why I do that. So this series is the Divergent series by Veronica Roth. I've never read this series, and I've also never seen the movie adaptation, so all I know about this is there's something to do with tattoos, and the tattoos do something or mean something, and there's magic, and they go to a magical, I don't know, I really don't know. So the next popular book I have not read is not just a booktube classic, but it's a classic in general. I'm really ashamed of this one, so let's get it over with. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm pretty sure someone has asked me if I've read this, and I probably lied and said yes multiple times. So I know about the characters, I know this has a romance, and it has something to do with social classes, and Mr. Darcy and the Bennet sisters, and all that fun stuff. But I don't know who ends up with who, I don't know the main plot line. There's something to do with one of the other sisters loving someone else, and then Mr. Darcy, and I am so ashamed right now. So this is one of those books that I know I need to read. I'll get new fiction books and even non-fiction books, and the classics get pushed down further on the shelf, so I feel like maybe this is one of those books that you all need to yell at me in the comments for not having read yet. So the next popular thing that I have not read yet is The Raven Cycle. Not the whole thing. I've read 1 and 2, I just have not read number 3 and 4. Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and there's also The Raven King. So to be fair, I just recently read these, 1 and 2, and I really love them. And I feel like when I really love a series, I will avoid reading the finale book for a very long time because I like to stay in that world. And I'm sure the next 2 are going to be amazing. I'm just a little nervous to end this story for me. So the next thing that I have not read is A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin. Oh my gosh. How do booktubers do this? I know so little about the book version of this that they're probably not even in the right order. I have no idea. So I have watched the show adaptation of this series, and I've loved it. I'm up to date on it. The good thing is I already know that I love the characters and the story in general, so I think it would be easy to start the book. The most I've read of this book series is the first few pages of the first book, and I didn't put it down because I didn't like it. It was just very dense, and then another book I wanted to read came up. Another reason that I have been putting off reading these is because I know it's not a completed series. The show has taken a turn from the books at this point. It will be interesting to see how they differ in terms of where they went with the story, but I also am a little worried that I'm really gonna like it and then the new book won't come out for another 10 years or something like that. So the last popular thing that I have not read I'm going to talk about today is the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. So like I said before, some YA does appeal to me. I like stories that have to do with magic, and the concept of this book seems very intriguing, and I really enjoy stories that have to do with multiverses, so I feel like I might really like this series. My only worry is that because it's YA, there might be a romance that I don't particularly want to read about. YA romances kind of scare me a little bit because very often they are unhealthy and they're glorified at the same time. So I think that's what's been holding me back from finally reading this series. So that is the end of popular books that I have not read yet. Please let me know in the comments down below which of these books I need to read right away, because at this point, this video feels like a giant TBR, and it's stressing me out a little bit. But like I said, some of these books I don't actually want to read or have a major interest in reading, but I'm sure you could change my minds in the comments down below to try them out, and who knows, maybe I will find something that I wasn't expecting to love and is my new favorite. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you liked it, and if you want to. Don't forget to comment. I love to hear from you, and I'm so excited to see you in my next video. Bye!